Good day. How are you today? I hope you're good. Okay. So today in basic science, we are going to be learning about ecology. Our topic in basic science is on ecology. Okay? Are we ready for today's lesson? First, we're going to know the meaning of ecology. What do we mean by ecology? Ecology can be defined as the study of the relationships between living organisms and their environment. It focuses on how plants, animals, and other living things interact with each other and with the non-living elements in their surroundings, such as air, water, soil, and sunlight. Okay, so ecology is the study of how living organisms interact with each other and their environment. Do we get that? Ecology helps us learn about the natural world and the different living things that exist, like animals, plants, insects. It explores how these living things interact with each other, how they find food, avoid being eaten, or help each other to survive. So ecology is about understanding the environment where living things live. Parts of ecology we have the ecosystem. What do we mean by the ecosystem? An ecosystem can be defined as a community of living organisms and the physical environment they interact with. It's like a small or large natural neighborhood where different plants, animals, and other organisms live and depend on each other for survival. Okay, ecology is like a science that helps us understand how all the living things and their surroundings work together and why it is important to protect our environment. Do we get that? Okay, that's good. Then we have biodiversity. What do we mean by biodiversity? Biodiversity can be defined as the variety of living organisms, including plants, animals, and microorganisms, in a particular environment or on Earth as a whole. Biodiversity is a crucial concept because it highlights the richness and variety of life on our planet. Biodiversity means the many different types of living things found on Earth. It includes all kinds of animals, plants, tiny creatures like insects and microorganisms. Biodiversity isn't just about the number of species, it's also about the different places where these species live. Okay? For example, the animals and plants that live in the forest are different from those in the desert and ocean. Biodiversity is important because it keeps the ecosystem healthy. Every species know their role to play. So biodiversity means the amazing variety of life on Earth, from the biggest whales to the tiniest insects. Okay? Food chain and food web. These are two important concepts that explain how living organisms in an ecosystem obtain and transfer energy by consuming other organisms. The food chain is like a straight line of who eats whom. A food chain is a simple sequence that shows how energy and nutrients are passed from one organism to another. It consists of three main components: the plants, which are the producers. They make their own food using sunlight. Then the consumers, which are the animals. They eat plants and also other animals. The decomposers, such as the fungi, bacteria, they break down dead things, dead plants, animals. They recycle nutrients back into the ecosystem, which allows new plants to grow. Okay? Then the food web is more complex. It's like a big tangled net of who eats whom. It shows all the ways, the different ways animals are connected in the ecosystem. Animals can eat more than one thing. They have different source of food. Representing the real complexity of nature. So the food web is more complex and interconnected. Okay? Understand that, right? So the food chain and the food web are the concepts that explain how living organisms in an ecosystem obtain their energy and transfer and consume of other organisms. Okay? Good. Adaptation and niche. What do we mean by adaptation? Adaptation is a special superpower that animals and plants develop over time to survive in their environment. It's when a living thing changes in a way that helps it do well in its home. Examples of adaptation include a polar bear's white fur helps it hide in the snow. Adaptation is how animals fit in the environment they find themselves in and survive. Okay? Good. Then what do we mean by niche? A niche is like a job or a role that an organism has in its habitat or environment. It is when an animal or a plant does It is what an animal or a plant does in its home to live, find food and stay safe. Niche can be specific, like a bird eating only insects, or more general, like a squirrel eating nuts and fruits. Every species has its own niche to avoid competing too much with others. So adaptation is how animals and plants change to fit in where they live. While niche is like a job an organism has in its home, making sure that everything in the ecosystem works together without too much fighting for the same thing. Okay? The interaction in the ecosystem. In an ecosystem, which is like a community for plants and animals, there are various types of interaction that happens. We have the competition. This is when different organisms like animals or plants compete for things like food, water, and space. For example, two birds might compete for the same worm to eat. So competition is an interaction in the ecosystem. Then predator prey. Some animals eat other animals. The one that hunts and eats is called the predator, and the one being eaten is called the prey. For instance, a lion is a predator that preys on zebras. That is interaction. Prey avoidance. Some animals have ways to avoid being eaten, like camouflage or running very fast. Cooperation. Sometimes animals work together for things like hunting and building shelters. So all these are interaction that takes place in the ecosystem. Okay? Roles of plants. They are also part of this interaction by providing food and shelter for animals. They often rely on animals for pollination and seed dispersal. So all these are interaction in the ecosystem. Okay? Then humans' impacts on the ecosystem. We humans live in the same world as plants and animals, and what we do can affect them and their homes. Like pollution. When we throw trash on the ground or in the water, it can harm plants and animals. It's called pollution. For example, plastic in the ocean can be eaten by fish, making them sick. Cutting down trees. Sometimes we need wood for building or paper. When we cut down too many trees, it can hurt the animals that live in the forest and change the climate. Building and cities. As we build houses, cities, we take away the land where animals and plants live. This can force them to go somewhere else or even disappear. Humans pollute the environment. We cut down trees, build houses and cities. It can displace the animals. Okay? Good. Using too much water. When we use water for drinking, washing and more, sometimes we use so much that there is not enough left for the animals and plants that need it in the rivers and lakes. Overfishing. When we catch too many fish from the ocean, it can make it hard for fish populations to survive. This affects the animals that eat those fish and the balance of the sea. Overfishing. Taking care of our planet. We can help by not littering, planting trees, and using less water. These small things can make a big difference in keeping the earth healthy for everyone. Humans' impact on the ecosystem. We said it's pollution, cutting down trees, building cities, using too much water, overfishing. We can stop this by taking care of the planet. When we don't litter, we plant more trees. As we cut down, we make sure we plant more. We use less water. All this can make a difference in the earth, and the earth will be healthy for everyone. Okay, so this is all on the ecology. Okay, our topic today was ecology and we talked so much on it, right? Okay, so we are going to do our assignment. I'm sure we'll be able to do that. Define ecosystem. I'm sure we can do that, right? explain the interaction in the ecosystem, define biodiversity, what do humans impact in the ecosystem.